I love bottle movies. Okay, fine, I'll tell you what a bottle movie is, you uncultured swine. Bottle movies are movies that mostly stay confined to one singular location, such as 12 Angry Men, Rear Window, Lock, 127 Hours, Clue, Buried, and that one terrible episode of Family Guy. Let's not forget, of course, indie classics that follow the trend of just one-word titles named after boring objects like Cube, Exam, and Circle. I'll dive into why I love bottle movies so much, what separates a well-written one from a confusing mess, and what the series I'm about to show you does right and wrong as a bottle movie later. But for now, it's time to talk about The Vault. Ah, shit. Look, it's named after another boring object again. The Vault is an episodic web series created for YouTube and released between 2010 and 2014, co-created by Aaron Hahn and Mario Miscioni. Or Aaron Han and Mario Miscioni, or some other way to pronounce those two names. The show is pretty damn under the radar, clocking in at a rough total of 2.3 million views for the entire series, with the highest viewed episode only garnering 313,000 views. That's over the course of 10 years. By today's virality standards, that's pretty much nothing. And that's why I'm here. To once again introduce you to something that I haven't stopped thinking about for weeks that most of you will probably forget about once you finish watching this video. And look, it's such a great show that the final episode on the channel is an advertisement for a completely unrelated movie. Alright, fuck it, enough stalling, let's get started. The prologue to The Vault is divided into 3 parts, and to me, they're better trailers than they are a prologue.
Not that anyone was watching anyway, but still, they put all their programming on hold for one show. And we still have no idea what it's even about. I'll make a prediction. I think they're going to get huge numbers. Huge. I'm talking record-breaking type numbers. But only got the phone lines down. We'll be taking calls here.
College students, or random schlubs that stole some t-shirts from college bookstores across the country, all locked in rooms with seemingly one object each. This girl has a radio. This dude gets some newspaper clippings. And hilariously enough, the largest of the 3 gets a wired-up exercise bike. He starts pedaling. And it seems when he wants to stop, the lights flicker and an alarm sounds, meaning the lunk alarm at this Planet Fitness was programmed in reverse. The radio blares to life and a DJ comes in with some info.
Not that anyone was watching anyway, but still, they've put all their programming on hold for one show. And we still have no idea what it's even about. I'll make a prediction. I think they're going to get huge numbers. Huge. I'm talking record-breaking type numbers, but only in the beginning. A lot of people want to see what this thing's all about, but they won't be able to hold that audience, and no one is going to watch this thing 24/7 for a week straight either.
This is apparently a TV show that an entire network is placing all of its faith into. We're even told that no one outside the network knows what the point of the show is or how it'll work, but it'll be airing 24/7 for a week straight. The DJ assumes this show will get lots of viewers at first out of spectacle, and then quickly die off. I would normally call this DJ an absolute fucking moron for not considering that live streaming allows people to amass audiences of tens of thousands of people and millions of dollars, streaming themselves doing the most boring things on the planet like being woken up while sleeping. Wake up! But this show actually predates Twitch and modern streaming culture by 8 months. So if anything, he lives in a world of blissful ignorance. Episode 0 is a bit more explicit in its divulgences.
These nuts. Got it.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
As you know, you're now inside of a place we've named the Vault. What the Vault is will become hopefully clear to you over time. And within the Vault, there are several rooms. Each of these rooms serves a unique purpose.
If we freeze frame on the Vault newspaper clipping, we can see that 10 colleges have been chosen to send students in as finalists to compete in the Vault. The hesitance of the students in their environment, and the fact they're labeled finalists implies that they all had to audition or compete just to get this far, in a test or a game that's esoteric by nature and potentially very stressful. I've discovered a newfound bloodlust for sharing obscure, standout media that I enjoy with the world, so I'm gonna drop another enjoyment disclaimer now. If this looks like the type of thing you'd enjoy, go watch it on your own. Then come back here and watch this video to both avoid spoilers and confirm that my analysis and review is perfectly objectively correct. Oh, and by the way, make sure to only watch the episodes in sequential order and nothing else. There's some promotional material floating around out there that for some reason spoils some pretty big parts of the show, and of course YouTube comments are going to be littered with people dropping key plot points, so stick to the episodes playlist on the channel and don't diverge out of there before you've seen it. It's not even that long of a series, it's only a couple hours in total, so if your excuse is, oh, I'm just too dang busy, I know you're lying, because the only person involved with this video who's too busy to spare a couple hours is me, and that's because your mom just keeps chugging Red Bulls to push herself to round 4, but sometimes I need to spring break and consume myself into some dumb online media, you know what I'm saying? Look, have I ever steered you wrong with this kind of stuff? Remember the Riddler comic from the Riddler comic video? Remember how awesome that was? And if you want a man-child to over-explain pieces of fictional entertainment he likes in a way that's somehow captivating, then I've got you covered. Just keep in mind that if you are gonna check this out, it's a very indie production. There's some wonky audio editing, there's shots that are a bit out of focus every now and then, and there's some concessions you have to make to see their vision relative to their budget. And their budget, from what I could tell by snooping around, was only about $25,000. And if you know anything about movie making, you'll know that that's not even a budget. That's basically just gonna pay for lunch for the entire month of shooting. I mean, hell, call me Snoop Dogg's best friend because I'm going to be blunt here for a second. Some of the acting in this show is downright bad. But I'm a fan of watching media through the eyes of the intention rather than the reality, and forgiving production faults if there's a creative story, passionate effort, or interesting format at play. That's why The Room starring Tommy Wiseau is the greatest movie of all time, full stop. Yeah, remember earlier when I said the production is a bit rough? Check out this awesome sound clipping.
In a moment, you'll hear 3 tones. On the 3rd tone, the show begins. You'll have 1 week. Good luck.
And by awesome, I mean, I'm sorry, I can't hear you anymore, I've gone deaf. Alright, finally, episode 1, this is where shit starts to happen. I know you kids are obsessed with shit happening, so don't worry, those precious 7 minutes of setup you just watched is now gonna pay off. I get it, I fucking get it. You could have spent that watching 7 whole TikToks back to back in that time frame, and, you know, about how to clean your kitchen counter using your butt cheeks or other useless shit you're gonna forget about, but trust me, this is worth it. Episode 1. Meet Henry, whose actor was a Keanu Reeves stand-in for the entire production of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Henry is placed in a room with 9 buttons, and the very first Turtle Beach gaming headset. Although he can expect shit audio quality and a microphone that barely works, Henry presses on by using the headset with his newfound 9-button gaming setup. Through trial, error, and Turtle Beach's mediocre warranty, Henry is able to push the buttons to connect to other students' rooms, and communicate to them via the headset. His first call is to a girl with over 100 fish bowls in her room, but the only amount of food she was given is clearly not enough to feed them all for the week they'll be on the show. They both assume this is a puzzle similar to the qualifying rounds, and her job is to figure out how to feed over 100 fish for a week with just a day's supply of food. Henry's next call is to Omar, who's in a room with dozens of clocks, all ticking in unison.
A lot of clocks.
Well, what time is it?
I have no idea.
I love this scene's visuals and audio directing, not only because the wall of clocks is an imposing visual metaphor for the time they'll be forced to spend here, but the ignorable, quiet ticking of a single clock is amplified and turned into this nightmarish grinding noise to really exemplify how dire their situation will soon become as time just ticks and ticks on. You can also be a cynical piece of shit here like me and notice that in the wide shots they weren't able to get all the clocks to tick exactly simultaneously, but Work with me here. This is an 11-year-old YouTube miniseries and not Broadway, okay? Clockboy assumes his puzzle is to figure out which clock is showing the correct time, and thinks he can start working on the puzzle if he had anything to write down the numbers with. The two summarize that because there's 9 lights on Henry's switchboard and each light connects to another student, there's 10 students in total playing the game. But before the gay romantic tension becomes too intense, one of Henry's lights begins to blink.
Do you think we split the prize at the end, or?
Oh, I have no idea. Guess we should, let's beat this thing and figure it out, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Omar, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.
Later.
Hello, this is Henry.
Henry's next call is with Big Bike Boy Bance Barmstrong, aka that guy from earlier riding the exercise bike. He tells Henry that he pushed a button in his cell not knowing what it does, and Henry informs him it caused his switchboard to light up. Big Bike Boy mentions that there's a counter on his bike slowly counting down from 99 as he rides. Whenever he stops riding, the lights in his cell go off.
Okay, so it's a countdown. Miles to go, maybe?
198 miles.
Oh, hell no.
You can do it, just
Take it one day at a time. There's 7 days, 1,000 miles. That's about...
150 miles a day.
To which Big Bike Boy laments the irony of the situation being that he's not in the best shape for the task. Which means me nicknaming him Big Bike Boy and my fat joke from earlier aren't mean. They're canon. And just when you think the next person Henry will call is the fourth wall-breaking real-life director of the series to give him a platform to vent his anti-Semitic rants, the lights go out, and Henry is left with the blue glow of his dumb little arcade game wall. Rip and tear until it is done becomes Henry's motto as he peels the wall panels to reveal an entire wall full of lights. Remember in episode 0 how the newspaper clipping explained that 10 different schools had been selected to send in finalists to participate in the vault? We were never told that they only sent in 1 student each, or if those were the only 10 schools involved in the vault. It's not just 10 people competing in this game, it's over 100. Episode 1.5. Episode 1.5 stars a Florida man, presumably fresh from his recent bath salts baby cannibalism binge. While he's racking his brain over whether or not the Dijon mustard glaze was the right choice instead of the bourbon barbecue sauce for his entree of literal baby back ribs, he spies a map in his cell. On the map are an assortment of happy face stickers, which aren't a hastily thrown together emoji movie tie-in 6 years prior, but are instead color and location coded to represent students based on their school's colors and home state. On the floor is a page of even more smiley stickers, implying this guy's task is to accurately place everyone on the map. Episode 2! I'm sorry, I had to make sure you weren't sleeping. This isn't an ASMR tickle torture video, this is a large man media breakdown hour. Oh fuck, thought Henry. I am a master of blue lights. I have my domain unlocked when it comes to 3x3 light grids, but this is far too many blue lights for one mortal man. With nothing left to do besides whine like a pussy or push a button, Henry pushes a button. Here we meet Eric. He'll be more important at the end of this episode. Henry gets a call from Ben, who we'll call Fortune Cookie Boy, because I sure as shit can't call him the Asian guy who gets stuck in the room with a bunch of fortune cookies while a Chinese gong plays.
A what?
Put the Asian guy in the fortune cookie room, that'll be hilarious.
Even though that's exactly what happens, because this is a YouTube video. Even though this video I'm talking about is on YouTube. So, just stick with me here. This is going somewhere. It's not actually racist. It's just like how I don't actually hate fat people, even though I do. Henry figures out that he can place people in conference calls with each other as he begins ringing up more and more cells. Phoning in live from Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, we get screams at Clown Bitch. Her motivation is to scream at clowns.
Jesus!
Because she's afraid of them, and she deserves 9 Oscars for her role for taking on this challenging task. And then, it's time to...
Hail to the king, baby!
The king is a pogo stick style fuck-ass who sits on his throne and assumes importance during the game because of said throne. His throne also seems to come with the ability to listen into all the radio conversations during the game. It's sort of like how Star Platinum's ability of superhuman speed and strength can also lead it to extending its fingers really long because it just can, alright? Shut the fuck up. The king is arrogant, rude, and assumes his title gives him literal power that he throws around in an attempt to dictate the game. He uses this as a grandstand to proclaim his answers to the game's puzzles, no matter how caveman the solutions might be.
So obvious.
What the hell are you guys talking about?
Don't worry about it, Cookie Man. What's obvious?
The answer to that puzzle, you don't feed all the fish. You only feed some. You gotta let some die to save the rest. It's the only solution. But let's move on, shall we?
Hello. What do you see in your room?
Who wants to know?
I'm Henry. We're going through all the players. There's a lot.
150 players, so let's get going. What do you got? That makes sense.
What?
I have the water.
What do you mean? Well, do you have anything to drink in your room?
No, I don't think so.
Anybody else? No. I don't either.
That's because they put it all in here. With me.
Oh, fuck! Oh god! Oh fuck! Oh god! Oh fuck! I started half watching this series at about 4 a.m. in between little bouts of guitar practice. When this line dropped, I paused it, whipped open this notepad that I'm reading from right now, rewatched the episodes, and began to jot down this script. I started putting pieces together here and there, and I didn't like it, which means I loved it, because I had an idea where this show was going, and I wanted to see more. The connection's probably obvious by now, but remember the goldfish? Remember how this lady was in charge of feeding over 100 goldfish for a week with just a day's supply of food? Let's keep going. Also, shoutouts to good old Kirkland's signature brand here. I still remember their trademark motto, Kirkland's Signature. It's alright, but mostly, it's affordable. The rest of the episode features Henry and the King bringing more and more students into the conference call. One who's given a mirror, one with a set of tools, one locked in half of his cell like a prison, and one with a giant ship's wheel. Unfortunately, this also reveals the biggest weakness of the vault. Some of the rooms we see are either underexplored or seem to serve a relatively insignificant purpose to the story. They could be there for the sake of world building or to allude to something bigger in terms of plot, but I feel there were probably more interesting plot-driven ways to introduce and utilize a lot of these characters. Many of them kind of show up, have their little moment in the spotlight, and then we never see them again. Or what they do add to the plot when you start putting pieces together later wasn't that significant or could have been done in a more entertaining way than just having them do their little cameo. Either way, all it means is sometimes the show feels a bit slow-paced or fillery, but it's not bad, it's fine. The calls become too overwhelming to deal with at once, so Henry hangs up on everyone and starts to prefer the other option of whining like a pussy instead of pushing a button from that moral dilemma I said earlier. Until he hears that Eric's still on the line.
You alright? Yeah, it's just nonsense.
It's not nonsense, it just looks that way.
I have so many rooms to figure out.
It's not your job to solve every room.
This is what they wanted, okay? They wanted you to panic, that's their plan.
Oh, well, it's working.
You just need to
Take it one step at a time.
Look, your room is really important. You're in charge of communication. With 150 people in here, that's not going to be easy.
No kidding.
But that also means you have a lot of control.
Everything in here has to go through you. That's a powerful thing.
Alright, well, what do I do?
You need a plan. You need to find out what everything is, where everything is.
And then we'll go from there. Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
What's in your room?
I'm still working on that.
Episode 2.5. Flashback to when the game starts. We watch a deaf girl fuck around on a piano! Episode 3. Eric and Henry get the idea to put each and every room in a mass conference call to go over their plan.
I need everybody to be quiet for a second.
Everybody shut up! Okay.
I love the realism of hearing all the clocks ticking in the background again because we're wired into Omar's room, but the show immediately flushes that realism down the toilet by making us assume that you can get an entire congregation of college kids to be quiet by just screaming shut up at them a single time.
Now what we've learned so far is that there's more people than we thought. Now everyone in here
Is in here for a reason.
Every room has a purpose. What we all need to do
is find out what those purposes are. Take some time to understand your surroundings, and when you do, you need to call the operator.
Things are coming together. Eric takes on a leadership role and begins telling each contestant to figure out their room, while he and Henry begin to plan the next move forward. They even single out someone whose room has something to write with so they can finally start properly organizing. Everything is going great, which by bottle movie standards means everything has to start getting shitty. And so it does.
Now, for the rest of you, do not call the operator until you have a better understanding of your room. When you do that...
Power's out. And Qui-Gon Jinn isn't here to rig it back up.
Power's back.
Turns out the circuit board will overload the power if too many people are on the phone at once. So Henry calls back Eric, and then adds the writing girl from earlier. Her name is Anne, and she's got a whiteboard, as well as a full minute-long shot of her setting up that whiteboard in a letter number grid system to keep track of each cell. Anne stupidly forgot her editing for brevity at home, so we get to watch all of this uninterrupted. It kind of sounds like I don't like this show, but I really do. I mean it. This show is fantastic, and I loved it, and I highly recommend it, but I love nitpicking. I love getting in there. I love forcing my way in the hole and going, there's a problem, and there's a problem, and here's my opinion, and fuck you. Using this new grid system, the gang starts answering calls. Mark and F1 calls, and they all deduce he was given the trash room. I immediately figured out it was the trash room because I saw piles and piles of Borderlands merchandise in the corner. K2 calls in next, and it's the radio girl from the beginning. We get to listen to the radio DJ who gives a summation of everything going on so far, and also drops the goddamn bombshell that Eric's room has a fun little surprise in it.
If the vault is any sort of ship, it's a ship of fools. Actually, I take that back. They're not all morons. I like the guy in the newsroom. He's all right. But this Henry kid, oh man, did you see his face when he realized how many players there were? Like a deer in headlights. Obviously not the guy you want in such an important room.
Room L3 is next. L3 has a lemon cream pie going on in his lonely birthday party for one that's all too reminiscent of my birthday parties circa age 12 to 15. But strangely, it's already cut into designated pieces. The largest piece going to Henry, and the second largest going to someone named Alex. The rest of the pie is cut into a bunch of nondescript tiny slices. Strange. There's a discussion of how the pie could be symbolic of the split prize money the contestants will earn after they win the game, but mostly, I think the pie symbolizes just how delicious pie is. The gang decide to not mention this information to anyone else, which is right on cue to cut to the king, who is of course listening in on this entire conversation. God, I love pie. Episode 3.5, start of the game again. This handsome fellow is in a room with letters written to each contestant from their friends and family. He reads Eric's letter and finds that his parents are quite hesitant for him to participate, and suggest he be mindful of his stress levels and know his limits. The scene from earlier where Eric and Henry are organizing the entire group plays out from this guy's perspective. Eric name drops Henry, and Letters Man takes the opportunity to open Henry's letter. Before he does, the power cuts, and the episode ends. These 0.5 episodes give you insight on what other contestants are doing concurrently to the storyline as it folds, as well as additional pieces of background and lore. If you're like me and immediately slam a 6-hour session memorizing a game or TV show's wiki after you finished it, you'll appreciate these. If you instead tend to eat an industrial barrel of Elmer's glue before, during, and after watching movies, then you'll appreciate me reminding you to get the kind with added glitter to help whiten your teeth as you chew. Episode 4. Henry's woken up by being hit in the face with a tin of typical British cooking. He starts a conference with Anne and her whiteboard on the phone and then gets a call from a man complaining that there's a seemingly bottomless hole in his domicile. The last time I complained about a bottomless hole in my domicile, it was when your mother decided to spend the night without asking, but I digress. The hole seems pointless. Nothing comes up from it, and anything that falls into it fades away into seemingly nothing. Mary Jane from Spider-Man is next to call in. She has a voice-activated security system in her room, which instructs her to input a password and other details.
Vault activated. Please enter the room number, followed by the access code.
12.
Room not recognized.
It's voice activated and you need codes.
Yeah, I messed with it a little bit, but I can't get past the first part.
And I don't want to guess too much because I only get 3 strikes.
Through the power of Mary Jane having a hot voice and adult male hormones not stopping until age 97, Henry decides to let Mary Jane join in on his calls for the day in case anyone can give her a clue on how to unlock the room. The next call is to a room with a big red button in it that unfortunately is currently suffering a plague of student who's within pushing distance of the button. No one on the call knows what the button does, but the guy in the room assumes it's a forfeit button, and he can press it in case the group wants to quit.
Maybe I should push it.
Huh?
Right now.
Either push it now or not at all.
Yeah, but why?
Say I'm right.
I push the button and we quit. I'd single-handedly be responsible for ruining the biggest,
Most talked about, most overhyped reality show in television
history. They'd be screwed. I mean, I could bring down an entire network with just one finger.
Yeah, but then we'd lose.
So what? I'd be famous.
You know, I'd probably make more money from the interview
than actually winning the show.
The button here brings up a good question of the tenets of fame. On the whole, it's easier to be infamous than famous. Finding a way to ruin or destroy something is far easier than creating something yourself. And if there's no real long-term stakes, then maybe the most beneficial, albeit selfish option is to ruin everything for everyone for your own personal gain. If you push the button, sure, it would mean many people would despise you, and you'd lose the prize money, but maybe the attention that comes from doing so would be worth losing the friendship of over 100 people you haven't even seen eye to eye, and a small split of a large sum. Then again, we don't even know if that's what pressing the button entails. And the only way to find out would be risking pushing it in the first place if the consequences of it were negative. This theme will be really relevant later. Mary Jane calls Button Boy on his bluff, and he admits he wasn't planning on quitting, and is playing the game to win rather than for the prize. The joke's on him though, because during the post-credits scene of the ending, the director reveals the button was actually linked to like a briefcase of $2 million and like 2 smoking hot babes and a 12-pack of Pepsi and some Fortnite dances in a jar and like, God, Jesus, it's been so long since I was in college. What the hell do you people like again? Multiple credit card options? I don't know. And we're back with yet another call from Fish Girl. She asks if anyone's found a way to feed the fish yet, and Henry patches in the king so he can explain that the point of her puzzle is to only feed some of the fish.
Listen, Fish Girl, it's very simple. You don't feed all the fish. You can't. If you feed them all, they all die.
Are you even listening to me? You can either feed them all and waste the food and watch them die, or you can feed some for the whole week.
It's called sacrifice.
They wouldn't do that.
Sure they would.
It's TV. They'll do anything.
Great leaders have to make tough decisions.
Sometimes.
Well, what if they were people?
They're not people.
They're fish. And even if they were people, the same rules would apply.
The allegory's pretty on the nose here. I mean, just figure it out. If you haven't figured it out by now, I've got some coloring books in my closet that you can have. They're all from the shit you would have figured out 10 minutes ago series. Through the bitching and moaning and cussing and fighting and fucking and sucking, Mary Jane doxes her secret identity as Alexis. And she also goes by Alex. Episode 5. Henry, Eric, Anne, Alex, Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, and Monty Python and the Holy Grail's Black Knight prioritize finding a cell that could contain large amounts of numbers, hoping for a lead on the vault Alex is stuck loitering in like a no-good teenager. The group decides to call back Omar since his room is the one filled with clocks, and everyone could really use a good Coldplay song right about now. At the same time, Alexis is trying to pull a sneaky finger walk up the control panel to slide her own digits inside the security system's exposed access port. And then this happens.
Clocks?
Yeah, that's good. Where is that?
Please enter the room number, followed by the access.
I-7.
Room number accepted.
Whoa.
Based on that noise and Alex's reaction, either Captain Jean-Luc Picard has beamed down from his personal quarters without wearing his pants, or there's a plot revelation happening just off screen. I hope it's both. Meanwhile, Omar has solved the clock room, and so upon completing his puzzle, all of the clocks in Omar's room have stopped. If you want to destroy the magic of filmmaking, you could just jump back a few seconds and see during the wide shot the clocks are already stopped, so the film crew could make sure that they got the shots they needed. Work with the storyline here, and you'll be rewarded. Nitpick a small, made-for-YouTube indie production from the site's stumbling years, and of course you're gonna find logical inconsistencies. The thing all of this has in common is that when you point it out, you're not making the entertainment any better. You're just showing off that you're paying attention. Everyone knows it's fake. And because everyone knows it's fake, you don't have to say that it's fake. Everyone knows that I could kick Stone Cold Steve Austin's ass in a fight, because he's not a real fighter. It's all make-believe. If Stone Cold Steve Austin was here right now, I could easily whoop his ass. Oh god. Oh god! Okay, anyway, now it's my turn to nitpick something. The group still needs a code. So Omar mentions he's just gonna read the clocks off in order during the time they all aligned.
Hi, I need codes.
Are you sure you need my room?
No, but you have numbers and that's what we're looking for.
Let's just try something. Read off the times and we'll see what happens.
Okay, I'll go in order of the sequence.
12 o'clock.
Instead of the time on the clock that solved the puzzle, he's unsure of how to read the time on that clock because it's upside down.
I'm pretty sure the one that's still ticking is the correct time.
That's great. What time is it?
I'm not 100% sure. It's upside down right now.
Omar. It's 3:57, you jackass. They try the first clock and it doesn't work. They put together that the room, requiring the player to wait until a specific time, is about patience. Back in episode 2, Fortune Cookie Boy, Ben, read out a fortune that had to do with the virtues of patience.
All comes at the proper time to him who knows how to wait.
Henry works out that each cookie should be matched to a corresponding room relating the fortune to the puzzle. Then they can use the lucky numbers on the bottom of the fortune as access codes for Alex. But Ben threw away the fortune for no reason. So now he's not even good enough to be called Fortune Cookie Boy. And he will be given a demeaning nickname I will only reveal once I need to talk about him again. And before the episode ends, this happens.
I threw it away.
What? Why would you do that?
Because I know what it said.
Then what were the numbers? Oh, I don't know the numbers.
Jesus, that's what we need.
Henry, maybe all we need to... There. What the hell was that?
Earthquake?
No way.
Felt like one to me.
Maybe it was a signal. Like they're telling us we're headed in the right direction? That is stupid. Even for this show.
Guys, I don't think that was part of the...
Balding. Glasses. A look that conveys a completely lost desire to live. All the telltale signs of someone who probably already graduated college. We see the earthquake from the perspective of this man, who seems to be an overseer of the game. Think the pink guys from Squid Game, except his character development could actually go somewhere meaningful. The earthquake blocks his view of the proceedings, disconnects his radio, and jump cuts into black to increase dramatic tension. Damn, that earthquake's a pretty good editor. The next shots are in pitch darkness. Henry gets a knock on his wall, and learns that his cell neighbor is Steve, the guy from episode 0 who has an emergency phone. Steve hasn't received any calls from the phone designated as the phone the showrunners will call him on if something goes wrong.
Right next to me the whole time. Anyway, turns out the emergency phone isn't very helpful in an actual emergency.
Emergency?
The earthquake?
You think that was real?
What, you think it wasn't?
4 hours of nothing go by. I immersed myself in this universe by staring at my wall for 4 hours straight. It was okay, but I think it really peaked at 2 hours and 53 minutes in. Tens of thousands of dollars are saved in Google Drive storage space as the picture stays completely black. But the sequence that follows is one that I particularly like.
Can anyone hear me? Let us out of here!
Jesus Christ, will you shut up?
At least turn the lights back on. Please?
They can't hear you.
You can't just keep us in here.
Do you really think they leave us in here if something wrong?
Oh, sorry, were you not here for the earthquake?
Maybe. Do I look stupid to you? Watching you lose your shit. Come on. We're gonna do what we can. Go ahead. Throw the earthquake. Throw floods at us. Fire. Go ahead.
Vault activated. Please enter the room number, followed by the access code.
I7?
Room number accepted. Vault activated. Please enter the room.
B9?
Room number accepted.
There's a lot to pull from this sequence. The way they represent her being the only cell to have some sort of light is simplistic but also grim, and a reminder of the scale of this project. The light itself could be a potential clue. The first cell she calls up evokes a red light, but the next one is a green light. Why give the cells different colored lights? It's either that, or she actually managed to escape the vault 4 hours ago, and she's actually standing in front of a traffic light adjacent to a Waffle House, and she's deciding if it's worth the risk of getting stabbed to go in and order some flapjacks at 2:53 in the morning. There's nothing left to do now but keep playing. Even though they've been stuck in darkness, sitting around waiting for something doesn't mean that they can't find a way to make progress. Henry and Steve discuss what the next step was, and remember that the fortune cookie they needed was thrown down the trash chute.
I don't know. Pretty useless without the switchboard. We need these numbers. We thought we found them, and then the guy threw them away.
In the trash thing?
Yeah.
So, where's the trash go?
To the trash guy.
We just so happen to know of someone who lives in the trash can. And for once, I'm not making a joke about anime fans. The trash guy needs something to see, because human beings were too stupid to evolve built-in night vision. This is the part of the show where they take the biggest fictional liberty. If you're one of those people whose suspension of disbelief is held on by rubber bands and duct tape, this part may destroy the entire show for you. Because everyone's cells are adjacent to one another, they begin to play a game of telephone through the walls, asking each neighboring cell for a flashlight, and if they have one, they should throw it down the trash chute.
Hello?
Yeah?
We're looking for a flashlight. Pass it on.
What?
A flashlight. Whoever has a flashlight needs to throw it down the trash chute.
Why?
I don't know. That's what they told me.
But then how will I see anything?
Do you have the flashlight?
Yeah?
Throw it away then.
No!
Do it, bitch!
Now this is downright the most unbelievable thing in the script. It's a large stretch of the imagination to believe a game of telephone featuring roughly 150 players would be able to convey this message in any capacity. Realistically, here's how the scene should have played out.
We're gonna play Crash Bandicoot tonight.
What?
They said we're gonna play Crash Bandicoot tonight or you're gay. Pass it on.
The trash man shouts the numbers from the fortune up to Henry, who then telephones them across the vault to Alex. Again, just go with it. He telephoned it and it was fine. Alex manages to get the access code that she needs in the dark through a telephone of 150 people. That's all you need to know. Moving on. Episode 7. We're at the halfway point, which is what I would say if this was episode 8, because there's 16 episodes in total. Power's back, but only for 2 days. Henry and Alex have tracked down the girl who's in control of the lights of every cell. We'll call her Light Bright, because she makes things with light, and it's a reference none of the Zoomers watching will get. Light Bright has a meter that shows the power left in the facility, as well as a second meter that has a wheel icon above it.
238 and dropping. I still don't know what that one's for, but it's been acting kind of funny.
What do you mean?
Well, when the wheel spins, everything's fine.
And when it stops?
Well, like now, it drains. Usually it's slow, but yesterday when you talked to all of us, it ran out crazy fast.
Yeah, I had all the buttons on at once.
So it's you.
Yeah, probably. I don't think I can talk to too many people at one time.
Right, well, I wouldn't let it hit 0 or you might not be able to talk to anyone again.
Henry looks directly at the camera, and out of character says, "Hi there, I'm Shane Spalione. I play Henry on the internet show The Vault, and this is the scene where my character figures out that the second meter is connected to Big Bike Boy. Since the earthquake, Big Bike Boy has taken a break from riding. earning him the name Big Break Boy. Henry convinces him to hop back on the bike to conserve the switchboard's power, earning him the new nickname Big Break Boy, becoming Big Bike Boy on bike, not on brake. The protagonists check in on Big Red Button Guy to see if he pushed the button and caused the earthquake somehow. He didn't, meaning either the earthquake was caused by something the players didn't know they did, or it was a freak accident and they're now trapped in the vault with no one able to pull them out. Either way, there's nothing left to do but to keep playing.
Let's solve the rooms. We've talked to every room, right, Em?
Actually, there's one left.
Okay, let's see what that is. Finish the board and
Beat this thing one room at a time.
And 7.
Operator.
Hi. How's it going?
The elderly, coughing out dust because he's so old man, pushes the group to try the emergency phone and check the radio for signs of help, but to no avail. When he's asked what's in his room, he lies and nonchalantly says he has just a desk and some pens and some papers, trying to brush the question off. But in his senile old age, this man whose best friend is the Grim Reaper doesn't realize how much he's letting slip. Our main cast prod him on how he knew about the radio room, and also the fact that he has pens and papers, but didn't speak up when they frantically wanted to find someone who had stuff to write with. Silver Fox, who I'm going to call Silver Fox from now on because I'm running out of "he's old" jokes, and it sounds like a Metal Gear Solid boss, tells Henry that he needs to speak to him alone.
Henry, turn them off. Please, just trust me, it's important.
Okay, guys, give me a second.
Are they off?
Yes.
Okay, Henry, listen to me very carefully. I think we're in serious trouble.
That quake wasn't supposed to happen. I think something really bad happened out there.
No, I think they're probably just messing with us.
No, they're not. Something's wrong. We're in trouble.
You need to calm down, okay? We can't have people panicking in here, not if we want to win this game.
You're not listening to me.
I'm not playing the game.
We're all playing the game.
No, you don't get it.
Look, just because you're freaking out a little bit doesn't mean...
My shift ended 4 hours ago!
I'm not a player.
I work for the show.
I'm a plant.
A plant?
The dropping out of the ambient noise soundtrack to emphasize the drama, followed by Henry's delivery of "a plant" like he thinks he's actually communicating to a talking cactus, is really good. It's beautiful. These next moments are pretty pivotal and speak for themselves, so I'm going to let them play without comment.
No one's coming anytime soon.
Now, I have some food in my room.
So I should be okay for a day or two, but you guys are running out soon, so...
What are you talking about?
We have plenty of food.
Oh, yeah? Go check. Hey, Rebecca?
Hey, what the hell's going on?
I'm not sure yet.
Are we still filming?
I don't know, but I think we should assume so until we know for sure. You know, play it safe.
Yeah, okay.
Question. How much food do we have left?
Plenty. Why?
Can you check?
Yeah, we're fine. We've got boxes of this crap.
See?
Check the ones on the bottom.
What the hell?
What?
They're bricks.
What do you mean, bricks?
Like bricks.
It's not food?
No, what is this?
Too many fish, not enough food.
Why would they do that?
It was all part of the game. They wanted to see what you'd do.
Now it's a problem.
Say I believe you. What are our options?
Conserve power.
Food, water as best as we can.
Use what we have in here to survive and hope someone comes.
Or nothing. That is our only option.
Well, what happens if we beat the game?
Beat the game?
What are you talking about? The game doesn't matter anymore.
No, but...
If we win, do we get out?
Yes.
The vault magically opens and you stride out on the red carpet.
As the crowd cheers you on.
Well, what happens then?
I don't know. They didn't tell me.
Well, it's worth a shot, right? I mean, what else are we gonna do?
If you waste time playing the game and you're wrong,
we're screwed.
Oh, right, the video. Right, anyway. Episode 8. I feel like there's something I should say for this occasion. Henry decides to be that guy and pings everyone in the server for a group call, minus Silver Fox. Henry explains they now only have 2 days to beat the game, and they may as well operate under the assumption that everything that's happened so far is intentional. Stupid big dumb cookie guy cracks open the next fortune, and it says, the access code to open the vault is 9, 18, 28, 47, 52, 61. He throws that useless piece of trash away and reads the next one.
Only one that is willing to fall can rise.
There's a student with an empty bird cage, but they dismiss that possibility since the cage isn't exactly the part of the bird that rises and falls. Keep note of it though, it'll be important later. Important now though is this little bitch who has a cell full of balloons. Due to laziness or some other inexcusable bullshit, he refuses to try to force the last balloon to come down, and instead opts to wait for it to come down on its own. They figure out the fortune belongs to the room with the parachute, which is ironically given to a girl who has an intense fear of heights. We also find out the incredibly stupid and downright moronic reason the balloon guy won't get the last balloon down.
You're missing out.
Skydiving's a blast.
No thanks, I'd rather not end up dead. Or worse, crippled.
Some things are worth the risk.
And some things aren't.
Yes, I am a complete asshole for that last part. Let's pause here for a minute so I can bring up one of the tenets of why I love bottle movies. Good ones are written like a roller coaster. They're required to have good twists. When you're limited on locations, scope, and fictional elements, one of the few tools you still have left at your disposal to excite your audience is to put twists and turns in the story. When you're watching a quality bottle movie, you're gonna see or overhear something that'll get a good "oh shit" response out of you. And it won't even require a huge CGI effect or dramatic music sting to get you to feel that way. It'll just be another line in the script. The moment I knew I wanted to cover the vault was the scene when they unveiled that one person was in charge of all the water. I no longer assumed that everyone's room was supplied with all the food and water and necessities they needed for a week while they were in the vault. I was given the knowledge that basic necessities are a factor in the game, and the line was dropped as casually as someone's second child when they fall asleep in front of the television. This adds a whole large, tangible element to the game that isn't focused on until a handful of episodes later. And these revelations aren't spelled out and blown up in your face for you like major act starters or conclusions. They're usually just lines of dialogue or one singular camera shot. A good twist in a bottle movie explains a part of the story, but only enough to satisfy our current curiosity and never enough to help us predict what's going to happen next. Finding out Balloon Boy's in a wheelchair doesn't just give our answer to why he won't physically retrieve the balloon from the ceiling, but it makes us wonder, how will this affect the rest of the game? Is this part of the vault's ironic puzzle design or unintentional? Why isn't he sharing this information with everyone else? In a lot of mystery movies, the clues that you're given are usually enough to make connections and are enough to explain previous questions. Bottle movies typically keep you in the dark constantly, and the clues you're given don't help you solve the greater mystery. They just give you a better understanding of the situation. We still don't know if the earthquake was planned or not, nor anything more specific about the game as a whole, but instead our episode ending cliffhanger is just one characteristic about a single character. Successfully written bottle movies keep everything small in the context of a large picture, meaning you care more about the little victories, and ordinarily tiny revelations become a big fucking deal. Episode 9. The king is pissed, and he's about to rip the producers' heads off and shit down their neck.
I know exactly what is going on in here. This whole earthquake shake, I didn't even feel it. We were gonna solve this in 2 days, so you decided to throw this curveball at us to try to throw us off. You know what? Failed. I know how to solve this game. I solved this game. Producer screwed up. Plan B. This is their plan B. An earthquake. Mark my words. We are gonna win this game. Love purple, live gold.
Hi, editors, commenters, presenters note here. Love purple, live gold is the motto of LSU and not a call for any sort of race-based genocide, so let's not start any wars in the comments, okay? The next fortune is, one who wins to play does not play to win. I guess that's an actual fortune. I mean, initially I thought it's what a NASCAR driver would say post-nasty crash concussion, but whatever. There's a possible choice of a woman who's doing an entirely white jigsaw puzzle, but she won't shut the fuck up about it.
I'm almost there. If this puzzle had anything on it, it'd be a whole lot easier.
Wait, there's nothing on it?
No, all the pieces are blank.
Boring.
It's not that bad. It's just harder than it needs to be.
Fun side note, I've been doing this exact type of puzzle for fun for a few weeks now, and you don't see me being a whiny baby now, do ya? I only had to cheat by looking at the back a little bit. Then there's this guy who's the 3rd best chess champion in Rhode Island. He has a chessboard that instead of black versus white is blue versus white. The blue side is missing a handful of pieces. They deduce that the blue side represents the players, while the white side represents the vault, and the board represents the lack of ethical consumption under capitalism. The chess player says he's been playing both sides of the board, and while white does win every single time due to the overwhelming advantage of the board state and his abilities, it's still not impossible for blue to win a game. This next room has one of my favorite subtle jokes in the show.
Makes sense to me. Should we try the code?
I'm not there yet. Anyone else have anything with games?
And you see anything?
There's a kid's room. Yeah, more like a baby's room.
Ooh, what's in there?
Just some baby toys.
They're not even that fun.
She specifically says they're not even that fun. Like she went in expecting the baby toys to be a lot of fun, but they're not living up to her expectations. I like how this broad thinks. Baby toy bitch lets it slip that despite being in college, she's 16 years old because she skipped a grade. Everyone else in the vault confirms that they're over 18, which gives a purpose to the baby toy theming, and means all of the sex jokes so far have been completely free and clear as long as I don't talk about baby toy bitch. Turns out the fortune belongs to the room with the mini golf set. The student inside has been hitting the ball into a food can rather than the golf hole, because the hole on the golf course is an actual hole to God knows where, meaning he wouldn't get his ball back and he'd be stuck with nothing to do for a week. Therefore, he can win the game of mini golf in his mind with personal victories and accomplishment, but he isn't playing to win the actual game of mini golf. Mystery solved. Meanwhile, because she needs even more to complain about, Puzzle Girl mentions her puzzle is missing a piece. Okay, anyway, moving on. Episode 10. Okay, the next 2 episodes, in my opinion, are the weakest. And in truth, they're not that interesting overall. But they do add a little bit to the plot here and there. And I am going to cover them. And I'm going to make big poo-poo and penis jokes to keep you entertained, so let's just get through it. There's some filler stuff about exploring more cells, including a guy with a magic lamp that he thinks grants wishes, and some identical twins that wear different school shirts that act as a clue to the bigger picture, but it's really not important. The next riddle is, it is those closest to you that define who you are, which is why I've locked Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in my pantry for the last 20 years. But the gang decides to ask the mailroom student featured extensively in episode 3.5 if the fortune might apply to them, because they figure the letters might be from friends and family.
Do I have a letter?
You might. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex.
Yes, there is a letter here for you. It's from your mom.
Oh, really? What does it say?
I don't know.
Well, open it.
I did.
And?
And what?
What does it say?
Actually, I don't think I'm gonna be able to give you that information, Alex.
What?
What are you talking about? These letters were given to me. If they wanted you all to have them, they would have given them to you. But they didn't, so...
Oh, he's here. He's finally here. I've been waiting for this moment for so long. We finally get to meet the selfish asshole. I've long been awaiting this character trope to pop up. They are an absolute staple of each and every bottle movie that knows how to remotely write a character. This is the guy or gal who's focused solely on self-preservation and doesn't want to lay all their cards on the table for fear that it'll cheapen their prize at the end of the ordeal. They think working together is weakness, cooperation is for cockheads, and the only victory to be achieved is a total one. Because this is still a competition, isn't it?
Why would you do that? It's a competition. I'll take any advantage I can get. Yeah, well, this is a team game. I don't think I believe that.
Why should you get to read yours, but we don't get to read ours?
I didn't get one. shocking.
Oh, I see. So you didn't get a letter, so now you're taking it out on the rest of us.
No, not at all. I'm just playing the game.
No, you're stalling it.
They are a dick to everyone, both the entity everyone's fighting against and their alleged comrades in arms. They're a minor antagonist at best, but they're still on the same team as the protagonists, and they're going to do everything in their power to make this shit harder, especially if they have the means for everyone to progress solely available at their discretion. And all because they only win if they only win. If any of you out there know what the fuck the TV trope's name for this character is, please let me know. I spent way too long Googling it, and I love it too much to let it go. For now, they give up on getting any useful info out of the mailman, and ask other rooms if they may be relevant to the riddle. There's a room shared by 2 people, and it plays out like the chat room of each and every single titty streamer that I can think of.
I think when this whole thing's over, we'll still be friends. Keep in touch, you know? Right, bud?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's nothing else in your room, right?
No, just us.
And a pillow. But I let her use it. I'm cool with that.
Do you guys know how much longer this is going to take?
No, but we're trying to go as fast as we can.
Thank God.
Henry name drops Eric, and Sir fucks with the mail, decides that's his cue to activate his trap card. Be a dick to Eric, or some Yu-Gi-Oh card name, I don't know. Either way, he brings up the contents of the letter he read back in episode 3.5.
Eric's mommy and daddy didn't think it would be a good idea for him to come play in the vault.
Especially after all he's been through this year. The last thing he needs right now is more stress.
Wouldn't want him to crack.
I love Mailman's acting here, by the way. You can tell that he just loves being an absolute dick to everyone. He chews his scenery real good. He's taking big glompy bites out of it. It's not even nutritionally sound. It's not even good for you to consume it, but he is just hammering down that scenery. Oh, I see a lot of myself in that boy. Side note that I'm adding right now in post after finishing the entire series, I'm really disappointed that this is the only episode that the mailman shows up in. I mean, I like where the story of the show goes overall. I just think he could have stuck around as a really good secondary antagonist. Like, maybe write in the script that the mail has clues in it, and he's the only one that has access to the mail, so he could use it as bargaining chips throughout the whole game or something similar to that. He could be the Seto Kaiba of the group, as you will. It's a big missed opportunity in my opinion. But turns out all the letters are fake.
Hey, wait a minute, he's lying.
Her sister's name isn't Emily, it's Lisa.
And you don't go to the University of Pennsylvania, do you, Henry?
Nope. That's what I thought.
So I guess you don't know anything about us after all, mailman.
The mailman chose not to get close to any of the other players, meaning he has no actual information on any of the other contestants, meaning he's unable to define them in any sense. The fortune fits, and the cookie works. But hold on a minute. There's another twist. They're not actually fake, as Henry soon reveals.
Oh, the letters are fake.
No, not fake. The names are just switched.
You sure?
Yeah.
A little classic, perfect bottle movie twist right there. Let's do a bit of logical deduction here. The only way Henry could be sure that the names on the letters were switched was if Henry's actual letter was one from the group that the mailman decided to read aloud. We touched a bit so far on how the puzzles in the vault may be intentionally assigned to be ironic. The girl given a keyboard is deaf. The student with a balloon floating on the ceiling is in a wheelchair. The girl afraid of clowns gets a clown. The girl afraid of heights gets a parachute. The guy who has to do a deep dive inside obscure offbeat media is given a show that so far has written 18 pages of script and counting. Big Bike Boy even explicitly points out being given an exercise bike despite being in terrible shape. Now let's extrapolate that and apply it to some of the more less than obvious pairings. The king might seem fit for his throne because of his authoritative demeanor and judgmental attitude, but maybe the fact he fails to establish any sort of respectable leadership position and is openly hostile to his subjects is why he's the king in the first place. Omar is a numbers whiz. He says so himself. When he's put in the room with clocks, he immediately starts adding, subtracting, and performing all sorts of calculations to try to find a pattern amongst all the times. He's so smart, He may have even performed long division at some point, something scientists deem impossible long ago. But then, none of that math stuff matters, and the solution to Omar's room, following the hands on the clocks at a certain time, has nothing to do with mathematical ability at all. Eric's actually a pretty good roundabout thinker, who alongside Henry often keeps the group on track and solves a large handful of puzzles through his determination in thinking them through, and yet the Vault wants him to end his own life and leave the team. So, why is Henry the operator? Could his letter be the one where his parents disapprove of him playing in the Vault? And if Henry's placement is meant to be mismatched, what consequences could that eventually bring? Answers to some questions, but further possibilities are opened, and never explanations on the bigger picture. Good shit. It's time for an episode post-credits scene. Big Brake Boy became Big Bike Boy on bike, not on brake, bikes briskly, but Blight's bar bilboing bout. Episode 11. Unfortunately, this episode is largely filler. While I do find some of what they do with the filler amusing, little of it serves the larger plot. One strong criticism I have of the show as a whole is that they easily could have cut a lot out in editing. Not only does the filler get worse as it goes on, but the pacing drags pretty noticeably, and there's a little too much dialogue for my liking. Would have preferred a bit more show than tell. All you need to know is that we find out the prize for winning is $35 million. There's a girl in a room with a red and blue door and one key. She tries to open the red door, and it's revealed to be the wrong choice, and now the key is jammed in the lock. The group interprets her puzzle to be intentional, and they guess that both doors are a wrong choice. And lastly, the gang solves another puzzle. But while they're inputting the code for it,
9, 17, 30, 42, 47...
Hey, is that the phone?
Yeah.
We'll answer it.
Yeah. Hello?
hey look, it's episode 12. 24 hours remains on the power grid. Time for the group to get up and start solving some— Holy fuck, you're not Henry! What plays out is a totally different group inside the vault, solving the same series of puzzles, except this group is exceptionally good at it. I'm gonna call this group Red Team, and the original group Blue Team, based on the color aesthetics of their vaults. Red Team is superbly efficient and competent. Red Team's switchboard operator is quick, nails down his routine in seconds, has memorized the grid of every single room, and is ready to go after only an hour of sleep. Red Team's King utilizes his ability to listen to every other cell to act as an advisor to the team, rather than the group needing a third party like Eric to take over. Red Team's Fortune Cookie Man has already cracked open and organized every single fortune. Red Team's Whiteboard not only categorizes each cell by position and object, but gives them qualities such as shirt color and initials. And of course, Red Team's Big Bike Boy is a ripped rotating racer who keeps the meter over 300 without even trying. Remember way back in episode 1.5 when that dangerous psychopath who for some reason willingly chose to go to college in Florida saw his room with a map and colored happy face stickers in it? Turns out there's more to that system than we thought. The fortune cookie codes aren't actually random. They're a series of facts about the student in the related puzzle room, including the population ranking of the state that their college is in, and the numerical position of the letters in their name. This team is so good, no one even needs to solve their room puzzles anymore. They can figure out the answers just through the process of elimination.
Few things are as deadly as compassion misguided.
Alright, let's just go by the numbers again.
5, 21, 23.
24, 33, 45.
Sal, you got that?
First number was 5. Yep.
Okay, so if that's the population number, fifth biggest state in the US is probably Illinois? Yeah, Illinois. That narrows it down to 5 players.
What are the colors?
purple, 2 blue, 1 orange.
Alright, let's do purple first. Amanda?
Okay, purple rooms. We got king, playroom, balloons, fish.
Yeah, fish. Let's try that. Sarah, you there?
Red team's confident using their method that they've solved the fish room, but they want to double check before entering the code, because they, just like blue team, are down to their last guess on the security system. Red team's map guy chimes in saying he only has 4 stickers left, and it may help to just finish it out. Red team's operator calls the 4 remaining students who haven't given their school names and shirt colors. One of them is the student assigned to the 2 doors puzzle, except in this vault, the blue door was opened, confirming what the original team had guessed. Both doors are incorrect. The map is now complete, except the pattern's fucked up. Each state should have a minimum of 2 players, but just like they do in real life, Kansas is fucking it up. Despite compensating for 2 players possibly being inbred because they're from Kansas, Red Team confirms that there should be another Kansas student in the ranks. They call the student from Kansas that they know about, and he turns out to be the Red Team's balloon room. And here we're shown why taking the balloon down is important. The code for the room is missing a number, and that number is written on the other side of the balloon. Key thing to note is that they also say this is just one of the rooms missing a number. Red Team's next fortune is, you will soon hear from an important person. The operator thinks that's the emergency phone. After checking the student's info to cross-reference their process of elimination system, they have a match, and they enter in the room's security code.
Room number accepted.
13, 16,
17, 18, 24, 34.
Code accepted.
It's a phone number.
Okay, Martina, get ready.
Ready.
Right, Lauren? Give her the number. We'll answer it. Yeah.
Hello?
Hi.
See? I told you! I fucking told you! It's getting good again! Woo, baby! Episode 13. The telephone people here do the most seemingly impossible thing and fail to communicate. Each vault thinks that they're talking to the producers of the show, and the conversation awkwardly gets nowhere. They always seem to be lingering on someone saying something that'll tip the other side off that they're talking to another vault. But just like your first time getting an erection at a gay porn, right when you think you've got everything figured out, it gets even more chaotic.
So the earthquake, the power out, that was...
All part of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty obvious, I guess.
So, is there anything else?
I don't know, you tell me.
I don't know yet. Can we call you back if we need anything?
Well, that's up to you, right? I mean, you obviously have our number.
Right.
We get a time lapse of the power slowly going out in the vault with some pretty fun visuals. Then we cut to the 2 vaults coincidentally trying to solve the same fortune at the same time, as well as a great shot that shows that Red Team's fortune cookie guy really needs to stop biting his fingernails. Look man, I know it's an emergency, but there's no excuse for poor hygiene.
And it's another one that's missing a number.
Who's left? Hello? Hello?
I love the idea of this. It's been about 3 days now, and this deaf girl has presumably just been absentmindedly smacking away on this little Casio keyboard the whole time, oblivious to anything that's going on. But through this, we also get another parallel on just how amazing and perfect and precious Red Team is.
What's wrong with the keyboard again?
Here, listen to this. See? Terrible.
I'll bet you there's like a yellow team out there that's already escaped the vault and used their $35 million to accurately cosplay as the Avengers at a children's hospital. Don't even get me started on the green team. They just used their stupid warp drive space travel that they invented to draft up the first interplanetary peace federation, those stupid fucks. The next sequence speaks for itself, and it would be a crime if I interrupted it.
Nicole, let's try using the lights.
The 11th key is silent. That's the missing number. Every fortune is now solved, except for one. Henry's.
That's it. That's the last fortune.
But there's one more open tile.
But there are no more rooms.
What about you?
What?
Well, we opened everyone else's, so this last box must be for you.
But I don't have a fortune.
Except that he does. Each puzzle solution is rewarded with a relevant object. No idea what this puzzle is. Maybe someone had to speedrun Watch for Rolling Rocks with less than 4 parallel universes and half an A press. The object generated by the fortune cookie room is a fortune cookie. May as well give it a shot.
It's only numbers.
That's fine. Numbers are all we need.
But I don't have a room number. I'm not even on the board.
Power's going out. Henry doesn't have a room number. There's no more clues. And while writing this part of the script, I spilled my water on the floor in real life. It's time to come clean. Henry confesses to Alex and Eric that there's a possibility that the game isn't even running anymore. He tells them what he talked about with Silver Fox, and how this might all have been for nothing, and a waste of both their time and resources. Eric stays optimistic, and tries to convince them this is all definitely part of the game, and if they come this far, then they may as well finish. But Henry sees it as pointless, and there's no feasible way that they could win by this point. But wait, one button is still blinking.
Hello? Your Majesty?
What you have to understand is that the vault is a simple game.
It's a simple game disguised as a complicated one.
They want us to think that this game is so unfair, that the odds are stacked against us, that every choice we make is wrong. But the truth is, there is no choice in here. They're the ones steering this ship, not us. This whole thing is all going to make sense. But only when they want it to. When they decide the time is right. They wanted us to put this puzzle together without knowing what it meant or why we did it. Only to make us realize that there was one piece missing.
One final question that we need to answer.
Which is?
Who are you? They've wanted us to believe it's all about this place, the vault, the rooms, and all this stupid crap in them. But it was never about any of that. This place doesn't matter. It's about the people.
It's about us.
And as much as I hate to admit it, it's about you. Everyone was put in their room for a reason. Everyone was given a puzzle that revealed something about them, something personal, something that exposed their flaws, their weaknesses, that made them uncomfortable. Imagine if everyone had been put in a room that was easy for them, that presented no challenge. Sure, they might be able to figure it out, but at the end of the day, what would it mean? Nothing.
We've solved the other rooms. We know who everyone else is.
So there's one possible question left. Who are you, Henry? What should it say on your fortune?
Great speech. You're still a dick, though. The fact he mentions that this is all meaningless without struggle has extra weight when you remember the system Red Team used the entire time. Red Team didn't need to step outside of their comfort zones, didn't need to learn anything personal about their fellow contestants, and didn't even need the majority of their team. They would have worked even faster if someone just gave them a spreadsheet of statistics of their team rather than forcing them to communicate at all. But after a certain point, if you become too efficient at a puzzle, you're no longer playing a game. You're just going through the motions of busy work. Oh hey, what the fuck? I have a fortune right here. Hang on, didn't know there was a fortune cookie right here. It says, you will be hit by the predictable trope of being cut off just before speaking the crucial information.
Lucky for you, I know the answer. I figured it out days ago, actually. It's...
Shit, we lost him.
You know, he's right. I always said there was a reason for everything in here. I don't know how they knew, but they did.
Knew what?
They know things about us. All of us. Our strengths, our weaknesses.
Our baggage. Nothing in here has ever been an accident.
It's all part of the game, I promise you it is.
And now I'm gonna prove it.
Wait.
Eric.
Eric!
You think they'd let me die on national television?
No.
Don't!
I'm just giving them what they want.
Eric!
Okay, you guys ready for the numbers or what? Episode 14. As the series goes on, shots like this have gotten further and further away. The vault has become more isolated and lonely. Alex tries a myriad of different room names, but nothing works. Until...
Please enter the room number, followed by the access code.
1, 12, 20, 21, 22, 33.
Code accepted.
It's a key!
A key for what?
No, Alex!
Some of you out there might think this is an ass pull, especially if you're younger. Oh, she just came up with the number 0 out of nowhere, how lucky. If you don't immediately know why the operator's number should be 0, why don't you go ahead and take a closer look at the emergency phone? Yeah! There's loud banging, reminiscent to if you threw a brick in a tumble dryer. And then, Henry.
Alex.
The doors that have opened take Henry on a tour of neighboring rooms, but strangely, everyone else is gone. He grabs the radio to try to find a signal and brings it with him. Henry makes it to the newspaper room shown to us way back in episode 0. One of the clippings shows a list of semi-finalists chosen from Massachusetts, along with their schools. There's some prestigious choices here such as Harvard, MIT, Big Smart Guy College for men with big wieners, that's the school I went to, but Henry's school is listed as NA. And then, something really fucking scary happens. Jump scare warning, get ready! Don't say I didn't warn you, jump scare warning!
Whoa! Who are you?
Henry.
Oh!
I warned you. Alex and Henry think about what to do. Maybe it's time to push the button. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's go on a Titanic-style King of the World date and figure this shit out later. They play with the bike. They play with the keyboard. They play with the hole, not Alex's. Henry grabs the magical lamp from a sequence that I completely edited out of this video because it was from filler, and opts to throw it down the hole. Alex snatches it, and first whispers one last wish into it before dropping it down. There's only 30 minutes of power left, no food, and no hope of opening this stupid fucking red door. Wait a minute, red door? But wait, wasn't the red door already opened? And the blue door was the one that the red team opened.
Oh, wait, no, I know, it's...
Hello?
Yeah?
Help!
Episode 15. At the end of episode 14, Alex questions why Henry's shirt doesn't have a school name on it. We get our answer through a flashback that occurs 3 months earlier of Henry and the Red Team operator, whose name is Justin. Henry and Justin are competing in a bonus qualifier round. Justin fires some questions at Henry on why he's not in college, and Henry just kind of dances around it, using vague terms to describe that what he wants to do with his life doesn't exactly line up with having to get a college degree. The goal of this qualifier is to open the correct box between two identical boxes. Touching or handling a box in any way not only counts as making a choice, but compromises Snake's mission and gives him a game over on European Extreme Mode. If one of them opens the correct box, that person will win $10,000, but opening the incorrect box results in immediate disqualification from the entire competition. This round is just a bonus round, however, so both are free to leave without any choice being made. Justin seems intrigued by Henry, so he opens up about himself, confessing his illustrious background, going to Harvard, having a dad for a lawyer, and slaying the terror dragon during the 7th Moon Festival of Shirai Alu. His tone seems half-hearted, implying that while he's comfortable being at Harvard and eventually moving to law school, he would rather spend his time creating sick beats and tunes using his music minor rather than beating his dumbass opponents on the witness stand. He asks Henry about his schooling situation, and his questions don't really get any answers out of him. Justin suggests that Henry should just open one of the boxes. If Henry wins, then they'll just leave it at that. But if Henry loses, Justin will open the other box and split the $10,000 with him. It's a win-win. If you're a moron, this deal just means that Justin will advance in the competition regardless of what happens, so Henry shuts it down. Justin gives up, says this just isn't worth the risk, and leaves after what I may say is a 6 out of 10 business handshake. Henry runs all of the plays for appropriate business reception in his head, but finds that a 6 out of 10 business shake just isn't good enough to utilize for a tactical office-oriented offense. This scene says a lot about Justin. He immediately figured out that to beat this box game, it's not about trying to figure out the boxes, it's about figuring out how to use your opponent. Justin put himself in a situation where he can't lose, regardless of what situation it leaves Henry in regarding the competition down the line. Henry's character also reflects a bit here, as he isn't really able to talk about himself in any meaningful way, but he comments that regardless of their differences in background, their chances of winning are equal. Snap back to the present, and this man was the man screaming from the end of the previous episode, trapped in the red team's cell, presumably for being a 35-year-old man posing as a college student. The man in the cell says that the door to the vault was open for a few minutes, and everyone else took that chance to escape, leaving him behind.
Hey, you guys don't have any water, do you?
No.
Nothing? I'm kind of dying here.
Hold on, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, man.
Uh-huh. Massively thirsty. Alone with Alex. I'm onto your scheme. There's a really obvious plot twist here that we've already figured out, that this is the red team's vault and it was next to the blue team's vault the whole time, so let's move on.
This isn't the same vault.
What?
Warning. 10 minutes remaining. Please make your final selection.
Quick, come on.
Wait! Hey, where are you guys going?
The people are the difference, not the rooms.
So, what does that mean? We're the crap team?
No, it's a trick. We wouldn't have solved the rooms unless they were difficult for us. I mean, if they weren't, then the fortunes wouldn't have made any sense.
That son of a bitch is right.
5 minutes remaining.
While we have the final answer, we still haven't figured out what the final puzzle of the vault is. The fortune that we opened as the final prize was just a number code with no hints or riddles. All the puzzles in the main vault were solved by acknowledging the weakness of the chosen player. The only lead to figure out Henry's puzzle is to find out his weakness. And if this man says short stacks, then I'll know he and I have something in common. By finding out his weakness, he'll also find out what Justin, the other operator, excels at. After combing the entire enemy vault, Henry stumbles on the only visible difference between the two besides their color aesthetics. Remember the bird cage from episode 8? Well, the red team's has a bird in it. Henry takes it as a symbol of the thing separating him and Justin. Justin may be in Harvard, but not out of passion. He's there to pave the way to law school so he can become a lawyer to appease his father and land an easy, cushy job. Meanwhile, Henry's not in college because he chooses not to be, which in terms of having time to fulfill your dreams works out great. But in terms of getting you a job to pay your rent and move out of your parents' house, it's a pretty stupid idea. Good luck yelling at your mom through the basement door to keep it down because Sunday nights are your guild raid nights, Henry. You're gonna need it. Aha. And it seems the birdcage room is the right choice. The operator button in that room is blinking.
30 seconds remaining. Please confirm your selection.
Are you sure? What?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Final episode, and it's a whole 38 gosh dang minutes. Sunshine, patio furniture, dogs, an enthusiastic man wearing half a suit. Meet Duncan, the man who owns the television network that's airing The Vault. And meet Michelle, the showrunner for The Vault.
I just turned it on. What's happening?
Red team is already solving rooms just as we planned. Blue is just a little behind them. Everyone's where they should be.
America's really going to be pulling hard for the Bluesers by the time this thing gets rolling.
Oh my god, the Bluesers! I'm a failure of a scriptwriter. I should have been calling the main team the Bluesers this entire time. That's fucking genius.
Well, we have contingency plans if they get too far behind, but I don't think we'll need them. Henry's capable.
Well, the beauty of live TV is that anything can happen so long as we want it to.
Right.
Anyway, did he find the redhead yet?
Yes, Alex. She's on the line with him right now.
Perfect. We really gotta push that hard, our little vault romance. Creative's already standing by to cut some promos with him. Our female numbers are a little low.
Henry and Alex the entire third act once we release everyone else. We'll get there.
When do they figure out there's not enough food?
Red team knows. Blue team hasn't quite figured it out yet.
Didn't they get the whole fish thing?
Not yet.
Jesus, how obvious do we have to be?
Well, we'll get our guy on the inside to drop a hint.
Good. What else we got for today?
Power outage.
Ooh, when's that?
It depends on their progress. Probably in the next hour or two. Prime time.
All of this is manufactured. Everything from step one has been planned. That power outage that may or may not have been genuine, as fake as the tits on that stripper that you think has real tits. Because TV executives in every show have to be heartless bastards, we finally learn why Eric was given a noose.
Yeah, the noose guy. We're already starting to get a little heat on that one. I guess somebody dug up his past. Everybody on the internet is calling us cruel.
Well, his twin brother did kill himself.
It's called irony, idiots. That's the whole point. Anyway, outrage equals views. If they're mad now, just wait till they get to the balloon room.
His twin brother killed himself, which I would normally write a joke about if it wasn't already hilarious. This next monologue pretty much sums up the whole thing. Just skip ahead through this whole video, it doesn't fucking matter, I've been talking for too long anyway. Just watch this part and you'll understand everything I've been trying to convey to you.
We're the bad guys in this story anyway. Poor, helpless college kids versus the evil, greedy corporation, right?
Right.
Love, hate, who gives a shit, so long as they watch. And that brings us to our next big challenge. I don't want to just hold our audience, I want to make this thing even bigger. We really need to sell that these kids are in danger. Like when that idiot tightroped across the Grand Canyon. People tuned in to watch because they knew he might die. There's real tension there, and that's what we need. Well, the illusion of it anyway.
Oh, it'll be good. Trust me.
Back to Henry and Alex. Henry pushes the button to confirm his choice, and all the lights go out. Instead of realistically, finally satiating their pent-up hormones and furiously making out in the dark, Henry and Alex question what's going on in the room as they're suddenly somehow beginning to move. The two can no longer feel the walls of the cell, and it seems they're stranded inside a big, empty, pitch-black room. Henry leaves Alex with the radio to go searching for a way out. Alex flips on the radio to give us all some sweet, sweet nostalgia terror if you ever had the emergency broadcast system interrupt your cartoons when you were a kid.
Henry!
In a scene that's genuinely poorly lit and probably shot on a cell phone because I have a good feeling the crew didn't specifically know how to shoot dark shots, H and A find a doorway out. Henry comments that this situation is serious. They fully escaped the vault. The show should be over by now. Which would make sense. We just got the full reveal of the executives pulling all the strings from behind the scenes. This has to still be part of their broadcast. We jump back to Duncan and Michelle's conversation to learn even more about just how scripted all of this is.
All right, well, I better get back to work.
Remember that this is a great thing that you've got going here. Don't forget to enjoy it.
I'll enjoy it when it's done.
Ah, well, it'll all be over.
Psych!
Yep.
Are you watching this? So is he right?
Randall, we've been over this. There are some things I can't tell you.
Don't be concerned.
Took them 2 days just to...
Oh no, it's the shockwave that causes people to not bleed from their ears, but when they look down at their hands, there's blood there. Ooh!
Guys, I don't think that was part of the...
It was real. The earthquake wasn't scripted. The show's been off the air the whole time, and everyone is fucked.
Hello?
Hello, yes. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is Henry. Who is this?
Henry, it's Randall.
The plant. Randall, what the hell's going on?
The plant, probably using its stems and leaves to mimic human speech, explains that when the rooms opened up, everyone left the vault. But while they were supposed to meet a welcoming party, no one was there. Both teams are now cluelessly hanging around in an auditorium somewhere without food, water, or power. Also, side note, the 2 guys who were locked in the jails of the vaults are probably dead from dehydration by now. Alright, moving on. There's a gift basket of snacks that Alex munches away on upon leaving the vault, and the 2 argue a bit over whether or not they should try to bring some to the other survivors.
We haven't found anything yet.
Shit. We might need to get out of here soon then.
Agreed.
What are you doing?
I don't think we should tell them about the food.
Why not?
There's not enough for everyone.
Hint, hint, fish, hint. The plant, the operator, and the questionable bimbo try to come up with a plan of what to do. The sky is permanently blacked out and the radio says to avoid going outside at all costs. So either way, meeting up is out of the question. Henry and Alex go radio silent and take the opportunity to explore the office. They dig up the personnel files of the contestants, and we learn some largely unimportant details about other players in the game. One key line that stuck out to me is in Justin's file. He's labeled to have perfect pitch and training in music theory. It's a nice detail to coincide with his true desire of wanting to be a musician, and shows that he'd likely be pretty good at it. After some tense moments, petty bickering, and frustration, Alex offers Henry a banana as a peace offering. She falls asleep, and when she wakes up, the sun rises, and absolutely everyone is fine, and she and Henry have $35 million. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's the ending they swapped in after modern movie test audiences complained that the show was too boring and didn't have enough explosions and whatever. Here's the real ending. She actually wakes up to find a note from Henry.
Alex, you were right. We can't sit around and do nothing. The others are counting on us. Since there's no reason for both of us to put ourselves in danger, it's better that I go alone. Last night I told you I figured out why they chose me. All this time I thought it was just random, but it wasn't. In the qualifying rounds, they gave us a bonus puzzle. They said we could each open one box, and that if we chose right, we'd win $10,000. If we chose wrong, we'd be out of the competition. But it didn't make sense. They said both gifts contain the same thing, but if that were true, how could one be right and one be wrong? Justin decided it wasn't worth it and gave up. That was the safe decision, the smart decision. I knew that too, but I needed the money. I just couldn't figure it out, though. So I started to leave, but just before I got to the door, it hit me. It wasn't about which box you opened. It couldn't be. Both boxes contained the same exact thing. Instead, it was about when you opened them. In other words, whatever was inside the boxes had to change. From wrong to right. The only question was, how long would it take? So I waited. Eventually I reached my limit and I went over to the box to open it. As soon as I touched it, they stopped me, said congratulations, and handed me a check. That was it. I'd won. It's not that I knew the answer. I had no idea what was in the box. But it didn't matter. I knew what it would take to give myself a chance, and I was willing to go for it. And that's why they chose me. There's only one place we haven't gone. It could be a way out of here, or it could lead to the others. Or it could be a dead end. Either way, I have to find out.
And that's it. That's the entirety of the vault. Now that it's over, what did I think of it? Well, it was okay. I mean, it had good moments, it had bad moments, and it... Oh God. Did I really just spend all this time, all these hours, make this long of a video, wrote all these pages, did all this editing for a fucking 6 out of 10 show? There's a lot of meaning you can take away from the vault. Some of it is so obvious that it's spelled out for you. Life is about the risks you take, the struggle you endure, and the challenges you overcome. Without any of that, we lack fulfillment, drive, and passion. You could also see the vault as a metaphor for life itself. Everyone is born with different circumstances, different strengths, different weaknesses, different problems, and how we work through them defines who we are. It's not just that some people tackle something differently than others would. It's the fact that one person's problem may not even be something that someone else has to consider a problem in the first place. Perspective can be equally as valid as circumstance. In the vault, the network putting on the vault cancels their entire schedule to put an all-or-nothing wager on just one show. It pays off. Ratings and the show are successful, but it still comes at many risks around it. One such risk is the mental health of the contestants, leading one of them to successfully attempt to take his own life just for the sake of trying to upend the program. There's also the ever-present danger of starvation taunted against the contestants, the room with the unexplainable bottomless pit, and tons of other stress factors. But at an even bigger picture is the risk of life itself. None of the vault mattered. None of the show's success mattered, because everything in an instant was wiped out by an apocalypse. This same factor always applies to everything in the real world. Tomorrow, you, or I, or everyone on this planet could be dead. You never know what could happen. You have to take risks if you want to put your vision out into the world, because you never know if or when you'll miss your chance. The vault could also be about how we boil down people we don't know to their base elements, even if it means dehumanizing them. In the vault, each and every person is seen as a function and nothing more. The tool girl has tools. The king is the king. They wear their school colors, they fill out the statistics needed to progress, and that's all they are to us. We don't know why the king is such an asshole, nor why any other student acts the way they do, which is the same truth that we have to acknowledge about 99% of the people in our lives. If someone intentionally cuts you off on the road, tries to start a fight in the street, or yells at a waiter. You're not going to know what got them to that point to act like that. And realistically, you never will. All you'll ever see is some random asshole, or a random crybaby, or a random restaurant employee, or a kind stranger. And for the majority of people, you won't even notice them at all. This fact changes once you get to know people, talk to them on a personal level, learn more about them, which is what starts to happen in the blue team's vault. It's empathy that makes their team hesitate to let all the fish starve, and what causes Alex to want to share a small food basket with over 100 different people at the end of time. You could also take away that the Vault is about the evils of the entertainment industry. The game show itself keeping its players in the dark and eventually through its convolution causing one of them to die. All under the name of, it's fine, it's television, what could go wrong? Would the showrunners have stepped in if not for the unforeseen apocalypse? Most likely. But there's a good chance that some people in the industry, and many people watching at home, would want it to happen. It's good for ratings. And when we're able to vicariously consume tragedy, sometimes we actually yearn for it. The final episode features a cliché, greedy CEO pushing every angle he can to make sure he captures the highest ratings possible. Plenty of evidence to support this theory. There's arguments for the Vault being about college and its potential to help define yourself, money, friendships, the beginnings of live streaming, and so much more. But personally, I think that the Vault is actually about something far more specific. The Vault is about creating entertainment. Every time you create a piece of entertainment, you're taking a risk. There's no exact science or math to determine how well something's going to do. You can try. You can get very close. Demographics, markets, specified networks and platforms, advertising, relying on previously recognized brands, the list goes on. But at the end of the day, there is no catch-all hard mathematical equation to determine the success of a piece of entertainment the same way you can calculate the physics of a bridge before you build it. The risks to creating are always there, no matter what you do. The amount of time you spend working on it, the amount of money you invest in it, the amount of innovation you apply to it, there's no foolproof method. I experience this risk every time I make a video. Me standing here right now instead of sitting at my desk like normal is a risk. Does this add impact to my final monologue like I had hoped? Or did most of you not even notice or care? Initially, when I wanted to do this segment, I had a shotgun microphone set up off camera so that way I could just stand here and speak, but the audio wasn't good enough. Do I take the risk and just use that footage instead? Do I have this microphone even though in my opinion it's a bit more distracting? Or do I spend God knows how many hours and days trying to make the audio perfect to what I wanted, while at the same time losing out on if I had just published the video days earlier and just generated the reviews and viewership and comments from that? It's more work for me to put on my suit, stand in front of my full green screen, and all because I had a shot in my head that I wanted to realize for this video. I initially wanted this entire closing speech to be done in one take, but the script grew too long for me to realistically want to dedicate all that time to memorizing and performing it. Could that have been the defining moment that pushed this video over the edge into becoming a viral sensation? Or would it have just been a nice touch that really wasn't necessary? I'll never know. And if I tried again, it wouldn't land the same way as if I did it the first time. This issue compounds itself when entertainment becomes your lifeline. Every creator goes through this struggle, since the success of the entertainment product directly ties to your revenue and in all likelihood, your ability to create even more pieces of content. The industry is on a constant push to better itself, reinvent itself, and outdo each other. Think how many TV shows, movies, anime, books, and all other pieces of entertainment you've consumed throughout your life you have completely forgotten about. The entire goal of this industry is to make sure it isn't forgotten, because that's the only way it survives. Mental stimulation is a human need, but the way we go about it is entirely through want. Let's tie this idea back to the Vault and do what I love doing so much. Go meta. Did the creators of the Vault see it as a success? The show as of right now is a rough total of 2.3 million views, with the highest viewed episode garnering 313,000. Did the creators see that as reaching the audience they envisioned? This show's about 10 years old, so would the fact it took that long to get that many views be considered a failure? Or did the creators just want to bring this project to life, and not in any way care how many people saw it? At the end of each episode, they advertise vaultshow.com, a website which doesn't exist anymore. According to Internet Archives, it seems the website was taken down all the way back in 2012. Before that, they seemed to have really ambitious plans for this show, including a Vault Live segment. This was meant to be a real version of the Vault game show, using actual college students solving actual puzzles. Far ahead of its time compared against what live streaming and content creation used to be 10 years ago. They wanted the Vault to be ambitious and to stick around. And yet to this day, I haven't seen a single other video on YouTube ever analyze it, review it, or even talk about it. If you read the comments on the finale, it's a pretty mixed reception. For a considerable number of fans, the show left too many unanswered questions and gave an unsatisfactory ending. Maybe that's why the show appears to have faded away once it ended. The subreddit only has 500 readers and hasn't had a post in 4 years. I can't find a single YouTube video talking about or analyzing this series, and I sincerely doubt the show is making so much as a penny for anyone by this point. Is that an issue for anyone involved? We'll never really know how anyone involved felt on how this show shook out, just how we'll never know the risks everyone else takes on a daily basis. But what we do know is that no piece of media, no matter how small, comes without risk. Remove any business side from the equation, and you still have the risk of reception. Remove what your audience thinks, and you're still risking that you, the creator, will feel satisfied in your final product. And if you remove that, well, I'd wager that no one would ever create anything again. Entertainment is a never-ending gamble. Sometimes you aim high to make a large product and it turns out to a cold reception. And other times you produce something on a whim that runs away on its own. I made this entire video on my own. I'm not much of a visual artist. I can write damn well, but visual presentation really isn't my forte. There's a reason my channel originally started with me commentating over playing video games, and why I tend to excel at parody, because then I don't have to worry about visuals at all. It's all taken care of for me. This video, to me, was a challenge to see how well I could keep the pace of it all interesting using only my skills in editing that I learned out of necessity rather than talent. I could have easily hired an editor to help. I could have constructed original background music instead of relying on borderline cliche video game songs. And I could have easily gone through 10 different revisions of this script to get it just perfect. But that all adds time, which adds risk. The risk that my investment won't be repaid in ad revenue. The risk that I'll wait too long to put out this video and someone else will cover this topic and steal my thunder. And the risk that I'll put all this effort in just for it to not work out and the video will in some ways have been a waste of time. So maybe this video is me trying something new to see how it does, and me putting in a lot of effort just to show what I'm capable of. Or maybe it's a YouTube show that I watched and liked and wanted to talk about because I was inspired to do so. It could be a mix of both, resulting in a spur-of-the-moment video essay that I didn't want to cut for time because I wanted to make sure I said everything I had to say. Who knows? It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you, the viewer, got something out of this. And if I did my job leaving an impact, and that's the risk I and every other person who creates something for fun take every single time we create. And thank you for risking your time and thinking this video was worth watching. You clicked it, you viewed it up to this point. You could have clicked away at any time, and you also took the risk in thinking that this video was worth your time. Thank you for watching. Oh my god, I'm finally fucking done with this shit!